Surprise move for Reject, taking away the Emma Frost off the rip. Mantis is usually one of the first bans that these teams like to go for, but it looks like Reject have made an adjustment. They will take out the Emma Frost, who, don't get me wrong, has been really, really strong right now, especially with having that zoning presence with the Psionic Seduction.
Yeah, absolutely. And throughout the series, right, for Team Reject, like, they've been kind of progressively getting better at those, like, dive compositions for sure. Like, that's the #1 thing that they've improved at. And, well, like, it's Marvel, like you mentioned. Like, he's so good at Captain America and those type of heroes. Emma Frost Protect on their side. They're trying to play around the counter dive, right?
Yeah, that's for Piggy, right? Piggy has been absolutely stunning on that Emma Frost as of this entire tournament. But so far, I'm not seeing something out of Reject. I'm not seeing a Mantis ban just yet. Will that cost them a little bit? I know there was one team that really just put the Mantis ban towards the tail end of the draft. Something we don't see very often, as Bobo's Psylocke does get removed by Reject.
Yeah, this is a very interesting ban. I feel like this is kind of like the progressive kind of take on the meta, is that Loki's sort of been going higher. You talked about Mantis, like she's been really high up in general. Same thing with Emma Frost, but the addition of Bucky bans coming through results in Rejects. It looks like kind of prioritizing the Bucky Protect and the Psylocke ban so they can get that mismatch. But ChopperMag still kind of prioritizing strategists. I mean, look, they've banned 4 strategists now, not even worried about that Psylocke team up with Emma Frost, it looks like, on their side. The last protection about to come through from them.
We'll see what the plan comes in for ChopperMag, and this is what we love about this, right? It's season 4.5. Not a lot of teams have a lot of exposure to it, so we're literally seeing the meta evolve as we go. Day 1's draft was so different from day 2, and here it's no different. Day 2 and day 3. Look at the difference. We're not seeing this much Loki getting this much presence here in day 3, and look at this. Both sides really saw how strong that Loki could be, not only just copying the Karmic Revival, but also the invisible boundary.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, there's so many things that Loki can provide, and flexibility is another one. Alongside, you know, the Bucky's been sort of like buffed continuously over the previous patches. You know, I say that character's like shoots meatballs. Like, he just like absolutely can parse across the map, just do so much damage, and that makes sense why you want to protect them. But we're heading into map 1, man. Dan, it's so much fun to be here with you, dude. And Reject versus ChopperMag should be a great map on this map type 2, because Reject have dominated on domination.
Oh, yeah.
That's something that it's surprising.
Yeah, Reject have been really, really good against in this map in particular.
Yeah.
No surprise why both teams saved the Bucky, make it more accurate, put them in the lair of the Hydra, as Reject, have been absolutely on fire lately. Especially with Gargoyle getting his signature Bucky pick as well. He has really arguably been one of the best, if not the best Bucky we have ever seen. The way he plays, not only just the aim, the raw mechanics, he's very, very smart with that Kraken Impact. He knows when to use it, when to not use it, and that's really all it takes from being one of the best to being the best.
For sure, for sure. He's elevated his game continuously throughout the tournament, throughout everything else that's happened in Rivals Esports. And yeah, walking up already with that Ultron composition alongside that Luna Snowflake for Finale in the sky, right? He can constantly deal a lot of damage up there as long as he can give the drone to his front line. They're playing this sort of front-to-back style off the rip with that Emma Frost and group. Meanwhile, ChopperMag going for that dive early on, going into the back line on the Gargoyle and the squad, but they're trying to counter dive it at the moment. Pethic off the high ground, though, forced to fall back towards the health pack. They're giving up on that dive because the point control is still in their favor, but nobody's on it necessarily just yet. It's ChopperMag that give it up, and Reject contesting it first. However, they force them off for now. Pethic finds Dobie in the back line. Invisible Woman down. That's a good pick early on. Pressure coming through. Izayaki falls. And huge work from them, like to pick off the strategist like you mentioned.
Yeah, no strategist. Finale doesn't have as much utility as he used to be back in Season 4.0, so really Reject have not a lot of utility available to them. ChopperMag will take over the site, but it was a little surprising seeing Finale on that Ultron pick, as well as having these teams. They've been really accessing that side of the map. That high ground has been heavily contested throughout this entire grand final, but now Reject looking to take the retake.
Yeah, and they retake it well. I mean, they block off Skittles. However, Gargoyle finds him. Pethic finds Dobie again. Pethic popping off We heard about him last. Yes, oh my goodness, the range right back into Pethic. They're able to find him off of Finale, and Pethic thought maybe he could live there on the backside. Zenstar gets brought back by the BRB. He can contest the point still, too. This is the biggest point for a lot of the pro teams, but Gargoyle shuts down Duet towards that objective, and he can still touch on ChopperMag's side, in which they are doing so for the damage, like you mentioned earlier, from Gargoyle, from the squad is still here. Yeah, do pop the ult from Jeff of Skittles, but who can he connect on? It's going to be the Diamond Form of the name of Frost, so she's not going to get connected. The Kraken impact onto him, gets rid of Skittles, so Skittles going down twice. Reject to flip the point as well, and Gargoyle misses that next reset, but it doesn't matter because Zenstari still falls. Good recontest from ChopperMag. Or for Reject, sorry.
Reject do get the retake going. We talked about Gargoyle. We got to talk about him again, right? He is one of the best Bucky players we have ever seen, and here he shows and makes his case as to why he is in fact one of the best as Duep. Trying to disrupt what's going on in the backline. Bobo wants to write a legend for himself. Cannot find anything, but it doesn't matter. Because the only goal that Bobo really wants to do is to zone everyone away as Pethic has a chance to let the devil out, but he's strangled. But will he stay in prison? It looks like he will be no longer as he is able to escape. Fidel pops the CYA. Piggy and Dobie team up with the Emma Frost Invisible Woman combo as Pethic comes in, lets the devil out as Piggy is able to find a trade, but Pethic is the main problem right now for ChopperMag, and Reject will fall to pieces, and ChopperMag will soon and surely be able to retake the site, but Reject, they have other plans.
Yeah, the portal comes through from Finale, and that cooldown utilized at the very least to later, but you called it earlier, Dan. I mean, Pethic, he's been a menace on this Daredevil.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah, but he has been playing this Daredevil. I think he's been playing it the most, if I remember correctly, in this entire tournament.
Yeah, up there,
and
him, Fi, I think, and Rymazing. Like, these guys are so good at the character, and it's so new, too. And right now they're waiting for them to walk in. Marvel switches to the thing, and we've seen so far through the tournament these sort of like counter dive comps fall out of favor. They do at the moment, and Pethic goes deep. They're looking for these invisible or the backline of Izayaki. Goes down again. Invisible Woman, or sorry, Lone as Snow. Hard to live when these full dives kind of have been coming through, resulting in Izayaki back to the spawn in a second. ChopperMag, their dive, it might be actually game-ending potentially because we're 80% already away, and they're going to have to walk all the way back, and they don't have the portal from earlier that you talked about from Finale.
And ChopperMag know that damn well as 88% now coming in for ChopperMag. Reject need to find a way to just brute force their way through, but Bobo wants to zone everyone away. A ultimate that Reject know very well, which was the reason why they are the second seed, and Crazy Raccoon were able to take it away, and here it is no different. Bobo zones away Reject, and they take control of round number
Round one, yeah. Super Soldier Factory is going their way because of, you know, you mentioned it, Pethic and the squad, and they knew the situation at hand, right? When you're about 80% of the board, like, it's just really hard to go and retouch without that portal. Like, it's impossible because of how far the map is. Now we're on round two. ChopperMag wins this first round. Dan, what's your overall thoughts from that first round that happened? Like, it was back and forth, but this dive, I mean, Izayaki, he couldn't even live on Luna Snow, right?
Yeah, Izayaki and Dobie really struggled against Pethic, right? He has been just bothering the backline. Not only just Pethic, Zenstari as well. Bobo is just there as a way to zone everyone from Reject away. And Reject, they really need to pull something out of the hat as Dobie does switch over to the Cloak and Dagger. If I remember correctly, yes, ChopperMag do ban away that Jeff.
You know what's interesting to see, too, is like Finale now swapping over the Psylocke, right? You saw how good he was in the APAC region. We saw Gargoyle yesterday play it, but whenever the Bucky gets banned, it seems like he's the one to pop it off first. But ChopperMag, they have all the ults here coming up in a moment.
So many.
Yeah, I mean,
Devil out, CYA, Jeff as well. The amount of resources that ChopperMag have is just abundant right now. As Izayaki does have the Fit of Both Worlds coming up very, very soon. Gets it in the nick of time, but Skittles is able to take out Gargoyle in the end, but it's still a 1-for-1 trade overall. But we'll see as ChopperMag have their ultimates. They will dump them immediately as Bobo spins and wins as Izayaki is gone yet again. Dobie pops the Eternal Bond as he just does barely zone away the rest of ChopperMag.
Zoning him for now. I mean, the point's still in their control right now, or sort of in nobody's control. Dobie on the backside just trying to live.
Dobie.
Great part about Cloak and Dagger is you get to sort of exist for as long as possible until Dwep is on you. 1-for-1 trades again. It's going back and forth between the two squads. I mean, we knew it would be close, but it's just a constant brawl. Piggy able to stay alive in that diamond form, also finding Skittles. That's the second time that's happened, and they're able to turn off of it because of that cohesion from Piggy. And you talked about getting that Emma Frost in the fan phase. It looks like that's coming to fruition at the moment as ChopperMag on the back foot, walk in. Izayaki still goes down. They're trying to maybe turn it with a freedom charge, but it's into that side lock. Dance of the Butterflies. Ton of damage output from this ultimate now, but they're able to live. Freedom charge still up, and they're able to kind of consistently stay towards that objective. Towards the back line, though, ChopperMag is still here. Nobody has point control during this entire time, and Bobo and the squad trying to peel off the Vanguard line, able to take down Marvel. Reject now back of the point, relying on Piggy in the pool from Gargoyle that you talked about earlier. What an incredible hook that was. But Galactic Legend plus the Eye of Agamotto connects onto a few, and they're able to take Finale. That's one of the hard damage dealers of Reject's side. Bobo cleans out Dobie again with that Galactic Legend, and finally, this fight looks like it's coming to a close, though the portal is still available from Marvel. They're able to touch, and this fight has lasted an absolute eternity. As they do touch, Gargoyle still finds Pethic, and they're maybe turning it. Reject finds them with the BRB from Fidel, so he's back in the fight, still a 6 versus 6, trying to peel off into that Cloak and Dagger bubble. Pethic able to find Finale again, goes down. Here comes Skittles with that ultimate that you mentioned in the middle of the point against Piggy. Can't connect them yet. Izayaki in the backside, able to find him, but is anybody here to peel? No, they're not, so Izayaki going to be taken out of the fight. Meanwhile, towards the main side, able to take down Marvel from Zenstarry. They can close out onto him. That's enough maybe for ChopperMag from that eat on Dobie. Dobie comes back, though, after coming out of Jeff's mouth, and he gets taken down. Rejecting the squad, sent back to the main side, and ChopperMag finally controlled that point.
Oh my gosh, it was a long fight, but ChopperMag are able to get it done in the end. I thought Reject were able to secure that after getting those 2 picks all the way back. Like, that was almost a minute of fighting, and Reject were able to just almost secure it, but ChopperMag just barely were able to step a foot on the site, and it was enough as all the ultimate rotations came in favor of ChopperMag, especially when ChopperMag made that heads-up play. They had an inkling that Piggy was going to use that Silent Seduction. ChopperMag, instead of respecting it, backing away, why go back when you go right in?
Absolutely, and going in they are at the moment with Bobo's Galactic Legend, sending back Reject, who are following into the bubble. The Eye of Agamotto was huge. Finale finds Fidel, but it doesn't matter probably because of how big that ult was from Pethic, who's been a star player so far. You saw him on Daredevil earlier, and now he's doing the same on Doctor Strange.
Zen just kind of just lands the finishing punch onto Marvel. Duet does the same onto the other Vanguard of Reject. No portal available now as ChopperMag creep up to that halfway point. This is a must-win scenario, not only for ChopperMag, but also for Reject. But ChopperMag look to keep that momentum going and going as Finale gets taken out by the Vanguard of ChopperMag.
You know, that's the scary part, is that they've played this composition of a Reject with the Luna Snow to give him the Snowflake. Yeah, above, they're waiting for this dive towards this back line. I mean, they've been so scared throughout the series. The dive meta is really coming into fruition at the moment, but they're still alive for now. The follow-up for Zenstarry's Feast of the Abyss is about to send ChopperMag further if they can go for a small cap. Marvel goes down, commits the Eye of Agamotto, but it's all for naught, basically, as ChopperMag yet again going for the spawn camp at the perfect time, too. I mean, did anybody make it around the back line? They're going for a counter portal. Pethic is potentially off of the map, or at least the portal block. There it goes, off of the map. Can he find anybody who is maybe unaware? This could end it right here and now. They're trying to touch the fate of the worlds. Portal block!
Oh, what a block!
Izayaki! Are you kidding? But he touches. He's there. Gargoyle finds Skittles as well, but they're on the point without any ultimates. I mean, how could Reject sustain? It's ChopperMag in full control. However, overtime ticks down. We're halfway to over. Bobo in the sky pops that Galactic Legend. Pethic finds down Marvel. He's going to fall. Piggy as well. Not going to touch any ultimates either. To touch this point, rather, as ChopperMag on Hell's Heaven get it done.
What a portal play coming in from ChopperMag. Izayaki had the fate of both worlds. He used it to try to just sprint through ChopperMag, but in the end, that portal, of all things, blocks it. It denies it. Pethic well deserves this MVP.
Yeah, oh my God, what a series they were in for, man. That was so much fun, and you know, watching it back, like you mentioned, Pethic, he could do it all. I mean, oh my God, we saw him on Daredevil popping off. You said he's been so good on that, and then coming over to the Doctor Strange. This guy really is a star player. He seems like, well, the rest of the squad is phenomenal too, and Skittles, another Australian player, as well as Zenstarry and Dwep, but he really has been standing out and has been since mid-season for a good reason. overall take stand from that, because it looked like Reject. I mean, their backline, if you look at their elimination count, I mean, Dobie with 10, like they were not safe at all. I mean, so much pressure from this dive comp from ChopperMag, right?
Yeah, I said that Reject did have experience with the dive competition, but ChopperMag kind of dialed it up to 11, and I don't think Reject were really ready to try to find a counter, especially with Dobie not being able to play the Jeff. It put a wrench in Reject's engine. Just weren't able to get the momentum going. They had some early signs of brilliance, but in the end, just that thing. He can play it all, right? He played the Vanguard on the Doctor Strange. He plays the Daredevil here on none other than the pinnacle of Marvel Rivals Esports here in the Grand Finals. But damn, that Portal play of all things.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything like it.
No, I mean, it almost worked out, right? Because they still got the touch, I believe, with the Venom. But that was such a smart play by him, for sure. It's these small, tiny things that these pro players do, right? They constantly blocking with portals. You know, you see, but it's evolving even more. Like you said, it's hard to pull those sort of plays off. It's the only way to stop a dancing Luna Snow to touch the point. But Zenstarry as well has set up these dives. The combination of him and Skittles has been beautiful. I don't know. The pressure on Reject is a lot, like you said.
Damn, look at that.
That was an insane portal block. But at the end of the day, Dan, we only get to see, that was only map number 1. You still can go into that ban phase. It felt to me like they tried to heavily play around both Gargoyle and Finale, which kind of cost their backline, right? Like Izayaki and Dobie, I mean, they didn't have much help, it felt like.
Yeah, they kind of just got left out to dry.
Yeah.
The dive was just way too much, and Finale and Gargoyle just weren't able to, you know, capitalize.
I have a question, Dan. Like, do you think that's because they're could they potentially be out of sync of the current meta? Like, does it feel that composition they play with the Cloak and Dagger and the Luna Snow kind of has been a hero that, at least on Domination, has been really hard to run, right? So maybe with that, because they were relying on Ultron too, and we've heard so much about how Ultron's been falling off. I think you talked about it too. Like, it's seemingly the peel job is not possible to do versus dive in the current patch.
Yeah, I think Reject also relied a little too much on Piggy, right? The Emma Frost. They thought they were able to be able to solve the dive problem with the Emma Frost, which in theory could work with the Karma Crush and all that, but you can only really lock down one diver, and if you have 2 divers, you got to choose one or the other. You got to choose the Daredevil, you got to choose the Venom. It's been really difficult for Reject to try to find that perfect thing. That's what we've been really touting them as one of the better teams, because they are so good at tracking the ultimates, tracking who to target first.
Yeah.
But in this case, it just seemed like they were just completely out of sync.
For sure. Yeah, they just did seem a little out of sync. We'll see if they can change it up. They pick a second map. We're going to Convergence. They have a choice between Convergence or Convoy in this best out of 3. We're going to Central Park. There's going to be asymmetrical bans yet again, so 4 bans for both teams. They get a ban out maybe selectively like we saw, so we'll see in that ban phase. That's going to be really interesting to see how that goes moving forward. I talked to actually the coach at ChopperMag, you know, and I was asking him, I was like, what about this ban phase? Like, it feels like you could target ban, you can go for specific matchup bans and stuff and try to set up your comps. And he actually said a pretty good point. Like, he said that pretty much 80% of the time when you lose, it feels like a skill issue, but I believe we're getting a sub in for this next map. We're going to sub in Gnome for this next map. Dobie is being subbed out. What's your thoughts on that? Because you have so much experience with APAC, Dan. I want to pull from that.
I talked to Dobie a lot in the interviews all throughout the entirety of Stage 2. He has been really, from what I've seen, I think is the captain of Reject. So the main voice of Reject being taken away. I think that might be interesting, because Dobie is the what's it called? The main Jeff guy.
Yeah.
And I think teams are starting to pick up that Dobie is pretty goated on that Jeff pick.
Yeah.
And with that main
that band, it's just removing his hero pool partially, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's scary, right? And this is the very first time, if you're wondering, that we've ever had a sub in the middle of a match in this group, at least in Group A. So this is going to be incredibly interesting to see, because that's scary. I think if you're a Reject fan, just because of the fact that, like, having to sub in a player.
They have to.
I don't know. Maybe that's because maybe I'm reading too much into it, Dan. But do you think that could this be potentially with, like, was it the hero pool? Like, I mean, I think that's probably the biggest point, the hero pool. But do you think there could be potentially internal dialogue going on? Maybe because he's the captain, could he be doing a little bit too much? Like, do you think that he could be panicking and it's rubbing on everybody else? Could there be something there, or not really?
There is you could go at it that way. Maybe there's some internal stuff going on in the back.
Build, right?
Maybe. Hopefully that's not the case, but you never know. There is a world where Reject do have something planned. They might have pocket picks. They may have ways to surprise ChopperMag, who have been surprising us, ChopperMag, who
they're really
they've
good
been
at
playing
dive comps.
they've been playing so many good dive
And
compositions,
they
and
have
they're
a
making it work.
roster. They have like one of the most interesting roster combinations of all time, and with Bobo coming in from China, an Australian lineup as well, partially. Like this is such a unique team that cannot be talked like nearly, it needs to be talked about more. How unique this setup is, and how hard it is to make mixed rosters work.
Yeah, ChopperMag also, they're not at full strength right now. They're not.
Yeah.
They don't have one of their players, and he's had so much synergy. It's Salvation, who unfortunately was not able to make it to the tournament. He has so much synergy with Bobo. Bobo and Salvation were just dialed in. They have so much chemistry together. They don't even talk, but we do need to take a glance at the standings. There is so much at stake right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, if Reject were to lose the series 2-0, that could set them up for elimination. You know, the exact specifics we'll talk about more later, but if they lose this match, guys, like, it cannot be understated that this would be potentially terrifying, because when we saw them early on, Reject looked dominant, but, I mean, like we saw in the other group, we were hearing so many things about Citadel and how good they are, but they're struggling. We heard how Na'Vi was struggling at the very beginning in the practice rooms and stuff, but now coming into it, they're undefeated. So there's so many things that are interesting right now in Reject, you know, for their sake, and I'm sure people excited about the APAC region. I'm excited about seeing the APAC region, not necessarily as a former player, but because it's just like so exciting to see the Korean players in this game finally sort of take the next level, the next step up that we know is definitely in the capabilities of this region. So for Reject, if they were to go down 0-2 to ChopperMag, that could set them up for elimination, and that would secure ChopperMag's spot in the playoffs.
It can go either way, right? Asia could take a playoff spot. OCE could also take a playoff spot. That would be absolutely crazy going either way. Another crazy thing is Envy. They have been a team that we thought would do pretty well on paper, but right now, from what we have been observing, the meta. It's the meta. It's the gosh darn meta that Envy have been trying to figure out, and they are struggling, especially with Speedery not being able to play much of the flying heroes that got absolutely gutted.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because a lot of people were so like you talked about how APAC region with was it Crazy Raccoon, how they were really good before this, obviously eliminated now.
Yeah.
But before this,
they suffered the same case.
Well, you were saying how the flying heroes, right? Human Torch and Ultron were both nerfed this last patch, and like you said, they were really reliant on that on Crazy Raccoon's side. And for the opposite side, for Reject, they were not the best at that composition comparatively, but now today, it seems like their style with, like you said, Gargoyle playing the Bucky is bringing them to the next level. But if you start to figure that out, I'm curious, because it's like you said, I think you brought up a great point with Dobie, maybe on that Jeff being subbed out for that very reason, having a Gnome, and that's an insane substitute, so we'll have to see that pans out on Central Park. But man, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun to see this, because Reject has so much on the line, but as does ChopperMag, like you said, with Australia for the first time, making the playoffs once again, like they did with Ground Zero last time in the mid-season. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
I'm so excited, because right now in Group A, there are 3 teams that still have yet to make a way to get into the playoffs, right? ChopperMag have a chance, Envy still have a chance despite being at risk, but Reject, they're also at risk. And to make it simpler for the viewers back at home, if any of these teams go 0-2 today, all 3 of these teams are playing 2 matches, keep that in mind. If they lose every single one today, they are done. That's it. Done and dusted. They are out.
And that's crazy. Like you pulled from your APAC region, and I heavily appreciate that, Dan. Coming back from America's region, like you said with Envy, it's surprising to see them in the position that they could potentially be eliminated, right? It was surprising, I think, to see Crazy Raccoons eliminated as a #1 seed, but for Envy, like, we saw how good they were at the midseason, right? When we were talking to the players, when we were talking to everybody behind the scenes, the top 2 teams at midseason the entire time was Envy and it was Rad. Right now, Na'Vi. Na'Vi and their side of the group are doing well. We can see them now. They've done well in midseason and also now at the grand finals and the group stages. But regardless, this is going to be so much fun to watch how they do and how they come back, because it's scary for Team Envy. And what else is scary is our brand new PvE game mode as well that you can check out at Marvel Rivals. He's been playing a lot, Dan. I know that Shit was talking about he's like grinding this game like a madman, and a lot of people are having a ton of fun playing it. But this is the new PvE game mode. What do you think of it so far?
I love it.
It's addicting?
It is really fun. Okay. I somehow got the chance to play it before I inevitably had to show up here in Atlanta, but Marvel Zombies, great PvE game mode. The first few difficulties have been more story-based, but towards the end game, like the Nightmares, they made it work. They made it actually fun. The replayability is absolutely insane. It almost feels like a roguelike at times.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's kind of like a different game in Marvel Rivals, and we've had that before with the Ultron game mode. We've had that before with many different types of game modes. But yeah, you get to fight Scarlet Witch, you get to fight Namor in giant forms as well as show off your new skins. And like you said, it is like a roguelike. You're throwing around all of the abilities on Blade. You know, there's so much fun stuff that you could do in this new game mode. And in Rivals, we're constantly adding new stuff like this, right? There's new game modes coming in basically every few months. And, you know, I don't want to force the devs to maybe commit to anything, but regardless, it's difficult. It can be fun with your friends. Check it out right now in the in-game with all of the new skins as well that are in the shop alongside the Halloween theme, as Halloween's coming up, dude.
We're coming in.
And
so,
we're ready for it right here.
Playoffs is day one of playoffs is right on Halloween. And we are so lucky to have all the dates lined up, all the holidays lining up to Faction as you gotta
well,
take
the
a
thing
look.
is, yeah, and
Nightmare.
100%. Yeah, you get to see what Nightmare 4 looks like. You can see through all the options. You can upgrade your character outside of the game and bring it into your future ones, right? That's the most interesting fact. But it's not just Blade for Marvel Rivals that you're playing. You're playing Blade that has a bunch in his kit, right? Extra added stuff to his kit. Because if Blade was as good as he is in the new PvE game mode, then I would probably be very scared, right? But at the current moment, we haven't seen actually Blade interesting enough in the playoffs at all, in the group stages rather, in all of Grand Finals, right? That's interesting because he got some changes, got some buffs to, you know, how fast he builds up that rage, but we haven't seen him too much. Is that maybe because, like, Daredevil's been such a mainstay right now?
I would argue, yeah, Daredevil now being the main substitute for most of these teams, right? If the Psylocke isn't available or taken out of the pool, you always have the Daredevil. He just has way too much utility. He also has like a block ability, but Blade, if I remember correctly, only blocks the ability. But Daredevil has a chance to reflect
damage, and then with Daredevil with objection, he reflects it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
it's hard to compete against Daredevil right now, as we've seen, and that's a very interesting fact that there's so many of these characters that are really good. Like we've heard, even Magic was dominating. I think that Dark Zero was talking about how when they were playing Magic comps with like Amazing in practice that not a lot of our viewers know about, like they were saying the Magic comps were great and like dominating. And the tough part is that when I've talked to Super Gomez because he's here at the event in Atlanta. If you want to see him around, I believe he'll be at the playoffs. He lives here too, and there's a few other players I think that live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
But regardless, the thing is with Magic is that she just relies on like a one-shot combo, and if you don't land that full combo, it feels like you can't do much outside of that, and it's kind of you're countered, right?
Yeah, maybe you can go for the burst combo. Maybe you just try to farm up your ultimate. Ultimate has been absolutely devastating and just ripping apart the backline. And that's been what some of these players have been doing, right? They just try to pepper down the Vanguards up in the front, get that ult charge going, and then when you find that opportunity, you just pop it and go. And I think that's what ChopperMag really liked to do, where Pete jumps in, bothers either the Vanguard or the strategist for a little bit, gets away, and then rinse and repeat until you have your ultimate. That's when you go for the plays.
100%, Dan, you're right. And coming into it a little bit in Central Park, I'm curious if they could pull off those same plays that you mentioned, because this team, I mean, I'm sure people are very interested to see how they do moving forward, because if they were to win the series, if they do qualify for those playoffs right here, it's going to be another Australian team qualifying. People tend to underestimate that. I don't want to really bring him up just because, well, I was talking to Skittles in the hallway again, right? And Skittles was mentioning how it's kind of, okay, this is not coming from me, all right? I just want to point this out, and he said not to say it, so if Skittles is mad at me, he'll probably take it out on Twitter, all right, later on. Skittles basically said, you know, when he talks about the Australian region, he said, it's embarrassing to lose to us, right? And he takes that as a positive way. He takes it in a way that's more motivation, right? Yeah. Everybody's sort of underlooking the Australian region, the Oceanic region. He uses that as fuel, so it's sort of funny to him when they beat North American teams, when they beat APAC teams, because, like, guys, you were expected to win and you lost to us. It's a very unique way of looking at it, and I think it's beautiful that he has that sort of competitive mindset, because it's tough. We haven't had to interview any of these players. We haven't been able to, rather than the group stage, just because of how it works and they're so busy behind the scenes. Sometimes they'll pop in, like you saw with Velocity's on Cozy's stream yesterday. That was completely unexpected, by the way, but huge shout out to him. Velocity's a fantastic guy, big brain. But regardless, yeah, it's very interesting, like that sort of take. Can you relate to that as all, like being an underdog and sort of coming back in these series and using it as motivation?
Yeah, I mean, Reject and Crazy Raccoon as well. Yeah, they're all a bit of a wild card right now, right? Reject had a lackluster result here back in the midseason finals, I should say, and now they're looking to be even more serious about being contenders in the entire world. But Reject right now are at that back foot, and a reminder, we have a substitution for Reject.
Yeah, that is so interesting. You know what? I don't want to be too negative about it because when that's happened, at least to me in the past, that can show a sign of lacking confidence in a player potentially. It could be reading too much into it, but I'd be a little sussed out by that specific thing that happened. And I would hope things behind the scenes are great, like you mentioned. Regardless, in the ban phase,
I'm sure they're fine.
I'm sure they're fine too. Let's see. I mean, captain-wise right now, it's Dwep on the opposite side. It's Piggy taking control of the ban phase yet again. And this actually is kind of a thing. It's a lot of these captains. You'll see with the little flag next to him, we've heard. It's not a lot of the coaching, actually, that decides the ban phase in the moment. It's all on these captains picking back and forth. And you can see on the top side, ChopperMag now have a protect to deal with Reject's ban. Right now, ChopperMag get that Emma matchup. They've banned and protected Emma. They also banned at the Loki. It's happened on the opposite side as well. Bucky being banned, getting rid of Reject's chance to play that hero.
A one-sided Bucky.
Yeah.
Or ChopperMag and Reject will not have access to Gargoyle's signature hero. And another game, another map where both Lokis are out of commission. And Reject as well, taking out Bobo's Psylocke yet again. But Reject also take away the Jeff. But ChopperMag, they know that Dobie isn't playing right now, so they don't really have to invest a ban into the Jeff, and they can go elsewhere, like that Bucky.
That's such a smart play from them. I mean, it really is, because, like you said, I mean, you called it out. It's smart to adjust for your opponent, and they're doing it live, right? It's not about trying to ban out specific things like this, all like the Jeff, like you mentioned. They don't have to worry about that now. And they adjust group protect for Reject on the opposite side.
That is a crazy option here. I think Marvel is the one that really pilots that hero. Piggy, also known on the Angela pick as well. He does really, really like to play that hero, but Reject are on the attacking side first. So ChopperMag, I wouldn't be surprised if they go for a triple Vanguard, triple Strategist composition, that triple composition that really has been common for most of these teams in these Convergence and Convoy maps. But Reject, yeah, they have to find a way to break through.
100%. 100%. They have to right here and now, because that could set them up for failure later on if they don't. And ChopperMag on this map, and we've seen them, I think they had lost the Dark Zero on this map if I'm recalling correctly, because that was an incredibly close series. ChopperMag, I talked to J-Mac, the coach, they said that they should have won that series against Dark Zero, and it was so close. It was a back-and-forth series overall. I mean, there were some mistakes by the whole team. Skittles on the Jeff, I think J-Mac was talking about, was sometimes going down in the wrong place, but it's very hard, I think, at the highest level, and Skittles is at that level with a controller, which is absolutely insane. And I know Shib's talked about that before. I know a lot of people mentioned how there is a lot of controller players here. We have one from each role minimum, three in the Vanguard role with DRP alongside Enzo and TTK. And then also on the opposite side for Skittles on controller, on Strategist, and then ChopperMag also, Smash from Dark Zero also on a controller. But we're starting out here in Reject on the attack with this composition alongside having Finale on Phoenix because of that Bucky ban they talked about.
Yep, Finale has to go for a different option. Usually likes to go for another strategist pick. The Adam Warlock usually on Finale, but Gargoyle, without that Bucky hero, has to lock that hero instead. So it leaves Finale with a hero that did get a bit of a nerf, but still a very strong pick at the end as he takes it off angle to try to pepper down what is the front line of ChopperMag as he finally gets contested, but it looks like he may have to give up this control.
Yeah, right now, I mean, Pethic's
never mind, he's not giving up control.
They're playing that triple composition on the defensive side. Dwep able to take down a Marvel earlier on, and you saw Marvel able to evade the group walls from earlier on in the fight because he had that Rocket Raccoon jetpack. Now on the backside, I mean, Gargoyle is going to be screwed in that corner. I mean, everybody's diving on him. He gets the bubble, but the investment doesn't matter. Maybe he's going to force that passive pop. He uses it, so they actually want to fight this now. They built up ultimates. ChopperMag has as well. Here comes that Groot ultimate, but Piggy, I believe, is just eating it in the sky. Tries to land, could not. The overhelp there from that Rocket Raccoon. See you later, but that fades out. Now in the sky, here comes Finale. Down to the ground. Can he find any eliminations with follow-up? Marvel will be able to come through with that trailing prison in just a second. He gets burned out of the air. Piggy grabbed, thrown against the wall, kicked back for now. They know it's coming in, but they pop the invisible bounce Boundary from Fidel's side. Marvel waiting for that Shredder's ultimate to run out. He knows maybe also on the opposite side, Penthic does have that Meteor M to eat it. Has that Strangling Prison. Can he eat it though? Throws it out. Doesn't eat on the opposite side from Penthic, but they have the peel. They have the sustain on the inside angle. They also still have BRB if somebody goes down. Here comes that Meteor M from Penthic. No bubble on the opposite side from the Magneto. Misses on the high ground. Interesting. His own Raccoon, but it doesn't matter. Everybody goes down, brought back by Gargoyle. Ultimate's going to be built up yet again. Another cycle. Bobo still has res for the defensive angle as well as Gargoyle brings back Marvel. They're going to walk back in. We're going to see another ult cycle at this point. Finale's close to another Insong Inferno.
Yes, we're still going and going as Gargoyle keeps Reject in the fight, but Marvel down dangerously low, finally taken out by Penthic. Yeah, like you said, that Meteor was a little bit interesting, but the Strangling Prison onto 3. No witnesses here. ChopperMag, they take out Reject in the dark alley of Central Park, and ChopperMag clearly in that driver's seat.
I love that. That was such smart intuition there from Zenstari on that flank with the Strangling Prison. I mean, that was just so smart because of how long that fight went on. Took advantage of it. Good intuition out of a pro player, of course, but we're now to a minute and 30 seconds left already. And Reject, this could be close to a first hole. Gargoyle is going over to Wolverine.
We'll see if that Wolverine does prove to be valuable as a great kidnap onto Penthic, who has been on fire throughout this entire series, but he is going to get taken out. But thanks to the BRB, it will keep things at even ground. Still a 1-for-1 trade overall. Bobo wants to change that as they have ChopperMag in the driver's seat still. Finale takes this guys, but can he find any more? He will find Fidel, and yet again, another 1-for-1 trade. Penthic really close to that Meteor M, but he gets taken out before he even has a chance. And ChopperMag, I think they are going to concede the point, even with Fidel having that invisible boundary.
They have the portal. Can he stun out a spawn? That's the thing. Off the wall. Does he get it? No.
Did he get it?
Next on to Penthic. He got the portal off, I believe. So Piggy, wait. No, he didn't. Yeah, he stunned him. Good stun. Oh my god, what a stun for Finale. They have touched with the rocket. I didn't see the stun icon above his head, but it didn't matter because Penthic and the squad got spawned off. Bobo's here getting staggered out. But what a stun there. What a read from Finale to get that stun to stop that Doctor Strange portal.
That's the star of stage 1 right there, and maybe stage 2. That's the star of Reject as a whole. Finale with the heads-up play. Gets that right-click down from downtown, and he's able to stun ChopperMag away from a desperation portal attempt, and Reject will secure that first point. A little bit questionable as to why Bobo used the cocoon to get himself res. I think he was under the assumption that ChopperMag wanted to try to contest it still, but now that's a key cooldown gone.
Yeah, the pace was so smart for them. Also, Marvel with that Strangling Prison able to take down Skittles yet again during that See You Later, so that BRB won't be involved after that rocket dies. His BRB does as well. Now they have to back up. You do have some sustain on that main side with that invisible boundary from Fidel, but lacking Skittles now. I wonder if they'll be lacking a little bit of that extra healing that they need. Finale as well, close to the Insong Inferno. Piggy also, we have that Meteor M combination coming in a bit. We also have Sonic Seduction from Duet to slow him down at the very least, but you can't stop Gargoyle, it seems like. Bobo, though, slows down Finale. He won't be able to resurrect back in the fight. Penthic swapping over to the Bucky. Meanwhile, on the defensive side, the cart's still going to be pushing along at the same time from Reject, who are just waiting for now to get back. No pops the invisible boundary. They're going to have that uncontested after Zenstari and his freedom charge is over. Gargoyle with the last stand, not able to connect. Actually runs out of it, so gets him in the sky. Can't follow up, but it's fine because the freedom charge is almost over. Gargoyle still falls down, though, so they're losing people, even with the ult advantage. You wonder, Reject, can you pop something? Can you stay alive? No, the answer is not. Piggy goes down. Great job from ChopperMag. Want to fight without ultimates. This team, so well coached, so well coordinated to do that.
Yeah, the coordination from ChopperMag is just absolutely perfect as Zenstari spots out the invisible woman of Gnome, but he's able to get away to safety. There was a slight consideration in changing the lineup of Reject, a little bit of a composition change, but it looks like they are going to leave it as is. Marvel close to that Strangling Prison, lots of low health bars, lots of blinking health bars, but the Soul Bond is still available on the side of ChopperMag. But the dunk from downtown, Insong Inferno, and the Meteor M, that's the wombo and the combo, but ChopperMag rise again.
Yeah, that's the tough part with these two ult combination is they're just countered by one Adam Warlock, dude. Like every single time they pop invisible boundary. Dwep also committing that Sonic Seduction. But on the opposite side, they do have the damage to deal with. And Penthic in the sky finds Dew with the Bucky! Crockett impact connects onto the ground. 3 go down, make it 4. Marvel back to the spawn he goes. 30 seconds left to go from ChopperMag.
Somehow, someway, ChopperMag, even with our Reject on that offensive, making the first move, ChopperMag are just quick to respond. So many resources used, and now Reject, how do you retake?
That's a good question, Dan. We're coming up into it. Marvel walks in. Petha gets walled off, able to fall back to his team. Here comes the dive from Senstari. Gets that soul bond as well from the rest of his team to stay healthy. Make sure they're connected in terms of the overall healing output. But regardless, that Freedom Charge keeps them healthy as well. Reject still also has Gargoyle's ultimate. Are they reading that? Finale finds Pathik. That's one. Bobo, no Resurrect on his side. Pathik gets brought back by BRB though. Bobo falls. Does he have his Cocoon? He does. So he's going to be back in the fight. So they'll have everybody that just fell too. They know that. ChopperMag has to back up. They have to keep Duep alive. And the Invisible Woman, great shields from Fidel. Bobo, high ground, flank. Can he find something? Finale has to contest it. Invisible Woman shields though, and the healing is there. Duep able to find Piggy. He's been huge so far. Rez comes out. Bobo on the flank. Here comes the Galactic Legend trying to find that sneaky Adam Warlock in the backline, but Piggy, he finds Duet finally. Rez not there to bring it back. Bobo so close to that Rez, but he's on the flank. They know where he is. Doesn't have the Cocoon. Tries to board him again. Brings back Duet on the flank. Here comes Finale, and he finds Bobo. He doesn't have the Rez, but Pathik able to find one. Find two.
Oh
Can he find more? The Kraken impact. The spin to win is not enough to stop Pathik in his pure dominance. Gargoyle also goes down, but bring back by his own passive with the Cocoon. Able to take down Pathik. Takes down Izayaki as well. But right now, Reject, against all odds, they appear to be doing it.
It was a scrappy back and forth affair between these two teams, but Reject are able to get it done in the end. The portal comes in,
No!
The heavens open up for ChopperMag, but they get shut down immediately as that portal, it was just too little, too late as they try to get everyone off of that site as Reject finally putting their foot on that gas pedal. Great plays coming in, but this area of the map, the stairs, this is where all the disruption comes into play. You can find ways to disrupt it with the force physics. Maybe Reject look to go for the Angela pick here, but that's something to consider as Reject get closer and closer to that open area.
Yeah, I wonder if they were trying to go for like an early contest two on the flank. Zensari was waiting over there. Strangely Prison though from Marvel connects in the main side. Pathik off the map, pushed off by Gnome. What a push off! The substitute coming in, formerly starting on the roster, now comes in and just takes full advantage of Pathik on the flank. Zensari falls too, and the collapsing at the seams is ChopperMag right now. Fidel slept out of the spawn. Can they sustain? Bobo goes down again, has that res. He might have to use that Cocoon. Cart still pushing for Reject. They don't want to get too far. Duep commits that Sonic Seduction. Bobo not committing the passive, so he's going to go back to the spawn, and with that they find Gnome. What a pickoff from Fidel and Duep. The combo for those two off of that seduction from her. Zenstar in the flank though, trying to go for that ultimate flank, potentially drops through. Can he find something? The mag shield would just use. Does he know that he's sneaking in with that Strangely Prison? Decides to go farther around the flank. Oh, he sees them all! Oh, but just gets on the Gnome. He body blocks it, goes down. Does he have the passive? He does though, so he'll be back in the fight in a second. Here comes the Kraken impact. Overtime takes down Pathik! Finds two. Can the res come in time? Overtime's gonna slowly tick down. Gargoyle gets brought back above the point! What a spot to pull that res off! Comes back into the invisible boundary from Gnome. Do they have the ultimate advantage? Oh, it looks like they do. Skittles goes down. Bobo not close to that res just yet. Gargoyle in this match has done phenomenally, but still falls. Has to come back to the spawn with the portal. Here comes the Meteor M, but the Soul Bond keeps him healthy because of the healing, or because of the health that's split upon his teammates. Bobo brings back everybody. Nice job with that res too. And finally, in overtime, portal from Gargoyle is going to come back though. They're going to have overtime spawns. That means they have 13 seconds to come back. Regardless, they are here for a moment.
No!
Izayaki not close enough. Reject gets stopped in third phase, but what a push from them.
I'm at a loss for words right now. I am fully back in my seat. I am at a loss of what in the world just happened. Both Reject and ChopperMag playing out of their minds right now. What a karmic revival from Gargoyle, going up sky high and just getting that res off. No one on ChopperMag were able to react in time. I don't even know how he got up there in the first place, but he was able to get it done.
No, this is the Cocoon. So he died, or sorry, got KO'd.
Cocoon, true.
We've seen Jeff's dodge like mag ults and stuff up there, but you're right. We haven't seen the Adam Warlock re-res in the passive. That was so smart by him, like you mentioned. It was a desperation play too.
I thought that was it. I thought that Reject were able to get it done.
That's the crazy part about this game, and a lot of the viewers, I'm sure, are starting to learn like as we go on. Adam Warlock, if he has his ultimate, and Bobo is so close to it, and same thing with Gargoyle, like the fight is never lost.
I will say, this is by far the most creative game we have ever seen. The most creative match. ChopperMag pulling that play back in map 1 on Hell's Heaven. ChopperMag were able to get the teleport block with the Strange Portal of all things, and now Reject, they get a creative play on their own by using that Gargoyle Cocoon from the Adam Warlock to go all the way up in the sky and just getting that res off before ChopperMag had any idea where in the world that giant sphere was.
We're having a fun one, Dan. I mean, we're blessed to have such amazing matches so far in this group stages so far if you're just tuning in. And make sure to check out the main stream as well on twitch.tv/Marvel Rivals. Coming into it, though, Dan, Reject on the defense. They're going to be playing that triple composition again, triple Vanguard, triple Strategist, alongside ChopperMag on the offense, running that group yet again, alongside having Pethic on the solo Vanguard. Oh my god, he got pulled in. What a play from Reject.
Reject aren't opting to go for the Mantis this time around. They're putting Gnome on the Cloak and Dagger. Maybe this is a option here. It is a tight choke point, so that Cloak blind could come in huge, but Pethic again and again slams down the gauntlet and tries to shut out Reject, but that ultimate reset timer does run away. Great hook onto Gargoyle, but will that be the domino effect here? It looks like the answer might be a resounding yes, as ChopperMag wipe out Reject.
The problem with the Bucky comps now to deal with for Reject is they don't have a lot of ultimate they do coming back, but
Portal might be
Gargoyle,
available.
I mean, his Portal, yeah, you're right. Can he get off Marvel touches?
Oh, Marvel's going in. I think the Portal's available.
Against Bucky now, like, Bucky's one of the best heroes, especially with the recent buffs at, like, dealing with recontests. Like, they take down Marvel, he'll be back with the Portal for sure. Gargoyle has to be big with Agamotto, though. They know it's coming. They know he's ready, set up for it. ChopperMag have read it. Good read by them. Strangely Prison available. They go in with the Soul Bond. Here comes that Meteor M! Oh my god, he eats that Strangely Prison! And Pethic gets shut down by Piggy, who tried to collapse on it. There it comes.
But
So right now, they're here on the opposite side. So even though the Meteor M tried to sustain for Piggy in them, ChopperMag get it done. The damage there, the output from the team is too much for Reject to handle.
ChopperMag were able to focus down Finale. Finale never had a chance to use the Carpet Revival. No way for Reject to get back into that fight. Although the Portal might have been the difference there, but Marvel went down so early. He went down as the Portal was coming in, so he had no support, nothing available.
Well, yeah.
Not even that second health bar was able to keep him alive. And now ChopperMag, all you have to do is take the second point and then just barely get to Dracula's throne.
Oh no, Finale went to backcap the cart and he gets taken down by Zensari. What a read by them. I was going to say Reject are really good at prioritizing objective, right? Making sure that cart didn't touch. We were talking about that behind the scenes. But now we start off with that Sonic Seduction, Kraken Impact, follow it off! Pethic! Are you kidding me? Both Strategists removed! Gets rid of them. Finale also swaps back to Hella at this point, but this fight is over. ChopperMag have won it.
Hella Namor is available on the side of Reject. Do they want to go for that adjustment here? It's going to be a big question mark, but for now, Finale will pilot the Hella. Will they have an option on the side of Reject to try to go for that Hella Namor comp that has been so strong for so many of these teams?
They're setting up for it, yeah, because Gargoyle goes down again. I mean, he's having a tough time in the backside. They do get in the Strangely Prison and Sensori. And maybe we don't talk about this guy enough. On Groot has just been dominant, Dan. Huge ult from him.
Not even the CYA was necessary. Skittles just putting it down for good measure, but Reject get wiped out yet again. Look at the timer right now. Almost 5 minutes to get up the stairs and get right in front of Dracula's throne. There is a world where ChopperMag get the upset done, but they have to take the flight of stairs and walk the red carpet into victory. But for now, Reject look to stop them right at the front of the stairs. What in the world was that?
What? He took him off with
wipes
him?
down 2 into the abyss. Pethic, are you on Jeff or are you on Bucky? Because right now, Reject are stunned by that kind of play. What in the world was that?
Yeah, it's like, even though in a lost fight, like, what a ridiculous play that was from him. I think it's just that guy, but 4 minutes left. You mentioned Reject have looked good so far in this group, right? ChopperMag looks like they finally figured it out, right? We were talking to J-Mac behind the scenes. He mentioned his team, you know, maybe jet lag, whatever it could be, holding them back. Now they look fully online. On the flank now, ChopperMag have ultimates ready to go, but Gargoyle has the res available, and they also have that cart. Reject rotated around the point. They've done a great rotation. You mentioned their experience, their veterancy in this team. It's because of that they're able to cap it, at least force back ChopperMag to the point, but that's going to slow them down for now. Invisible Woman's going to be a big part of it. Here comes that ultimate out of the sky. Finale kept alive. Down with the Unsung Inferno. Probably doesn't result in any eliminations, though, but it slows down ChopperMag's push. And like you mentioned, they had a big time bank. Bobo commits that Soul Bond or Soul Resurgence. Opposite side committed by Reject, too. So they'll still be alive. Healthy.
Does he do it again?
Oh, can't hit it, though. Invisible shield in front of him, and the team backed off of it. Reject, though, still in it, right? Ultimates slowly dwindling. That's what matters when we get back to these last 2 ultimates.
If the veterancy shows, it needs to show right here, right now. Zanzari is threatening with that Strangling Prison. He could be the seal, he could be the deal, but Reject have to defend with their life if they want to find something here as the Kraken Impact wipes out one. Pethic was able to shoot down another as well as he gets the reset down.
He's looking
but
for him.
Gargoyle, he's going to try to do it again, but this time he is detected, he is spotted, he is gone as Reject fall apart to pieces and ChopperMag, the last hope of OCE. We hear a roar from the players. We hear the OCE's last hope rejoice as they take out Reject 2-0.
What a series. ChopperMag, I mean, this is now no longer a dark horse. This might be a full-blown stallion. ChopperMag, Pethic, what plays from him? I mean, just this entire series. Honestly, I mean, I would say it was close. Like, there were moments when it was close, but ChopperMag, when they were online, they looked like they could beat even VP. I mean, we saw yesterday they took VP to 3 maps, and we were talking to them behind the scenes. They said they could have. Pethic with 30 final hits, 33 damage, the 33,000 damage. You were talking about Gargoyle, how good he was on Bucky. He couldn't play it because of that ban protect system, and they played that perfectly too. That's the tough part. ChopperMag are playing a full game of Marvel Rivals that we haven't seen many other teams